What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the right side of the map in the blue color, playing as Hades. His name in-game is Extreme Player, but I'm here to tell you this is not actually his name. He plays under a different name that you might know a lot more. It's actually 50 Shades of Hades. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Odin, his name is Mr. Boat. Now, let's introduce these players with a little bit more detail. 50 Shades of Hades is an extended edition player. So for those of you out there who are like, Voobly players are the best, and then extended edition players are the best, you guys can duke that out as you would like to after watching this game, because I mean that's just how it is. So that being the case, his opponent is also an extended edition player. This is Mr. Boat. Mr. Boat, incredibly strong Norse player. He learned on the extended edition, and I still remember the first game I played against this guy. I was gobsmacked by how good his micro was. He just had some macro issues that allowed me to stay in the game, but his micro was on another level back in the day, and it still is on that same crazy big high level. And I'm excited to see him utilize that in this game, as we do see him utilizing the talent center there to reduce the amount of animation time the villagers spend shooting the giraffe there. Nice play to get that extra little bit of efficiency in here. Now, we've got 50 Shades of Hades now moving on. I'm just going to call him 50 Shades here for the game. Just remember, 50 Shades, Extreme Player, same person. Great. So what we've actually seen here from 50 Shades is actually a fairly new build order for Greek players. He's got one villager. I'm dying. He's got one villager on gold, and he's got two villagers on wood. Now, I'm not here to say that this is bad, because I actually think that the Greek build orders have not been fine-tuned at all. I think that they were tuned back in like 2013-ish, and then they haven't really seen much. They haven't really seen much further stuff happen to them. Thanks so much for the 13 months, True Drew PS. Appreciate you. So we're seeing something fairly new here from 50 Shades, and he's going to get in this temple up. And the question is he going to get something better than a 430? Is he going for a 415 here? Is he going for a 4-minute here? The temple might be up in time for a 4-minute here. Are we going to be seeing Ares? Are we going to be seeing Athena? I know that 50 Shades is a fan of the Ares, but on Voobly versus Extended Edition, Ares is slightly weaker here on Voobly than on Extended Edition. The Cyclops is simply just better on... I could be wrong about that. I think it's better. I think that the Cyclops is just a little bit better on... Just a little bit better on Extended Edition than on Voobly. But anyways, don't quote me on it. And we are seeing Ares come through for 50 Shades, and he is going for a 430. So even with all his fancy little build kafooting around, he still gets a 430, and he's still doing everything else that he needs to do. So Ares, they got a choice. I like that pick here against the Odin. Athena is great, but there's not a whole... There's not like a big difference between Restoration versus Pestilence. Pestilence slows down the enemy units from getting trained, which is really, really big, which allows you to have an early game advantage on your opponent, whereas Athena doesn't necessarily have that same advantage. So we'll see how it's going to go. We've already got some interesting walls here from our 50 Shades, and this is going to be something you see just a little bit from 50 Shades. 50 Shades is a player who has very much checked out the code in Age Mythology and understands what is possible and what is good, what is bad, etc., etc. And this saves 50 Shades 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 gold to build the walls like this. And he does this by having a hotkey which allows him to build the long wall segment, the long wall piece. He has that as a hotkey, which isn't something that's a default hotkey, but it is in the code, and therefore is technically legal. So there you go. If you guys want to have this one, you'll have to go and figure out what that code is because I actually don't know what it is. Anyways, we'll see if there's going to be any other funny shenanigans going in here, and if this wall actually does block. It does actually block. The Valkyrie will have to move around, but in the end of the day, this really didn't help out all too much, but it does have an escape space here for 50 Shades. As we do see that Pestilence coming in, the Hersa are already out, so this Cyclops is taking a lot of damage. He needs to run that Cyclops. The Cyclops falling here as 50 Shades is getting distracted over here on this location. The villager getting taken down as well. Mr. Boat is too good at this game. This Pestilence is not going to get him nearly as much as he would like, and we are seeing him go with hoplites here, which obviously I'm a fan of, but losing that Cyclops is super, super bad, as the hoplites are going to start moving in. These villagers moving over here onto the Gazelle here, doing their thing. And we'll see how this is all going to go. The Ajax here getting sniped down. And the Hersa have to pull back. But now Mr. Boat probably, did he get himself upgrades? No, Mr. Boat actually just didn't have any buildings down. He doesn't even care. And there's a big forest fire. We see the villagers retreating. Ooh, one villager kill. That's the best forest fire you're ever going to see, is these villagers trying to retreat back into their home base. There is a very, very low HP Valkyrie remaining, though. So these villagers jumping back over onto the wood. And now we have... It's just a really big advantage here for Mr. Boat. He's taken down a Cyclops. He's taken down a villager or two. This Valkyrie can possibly move in and snipe this low HP villager as well. So we'll see if that's what's going to happen here. So the villagers do jump into the granary. Boom. Attack. No. And we see the villager will survive as the Valkyrie does end up falling. The army of 50 Shades now going to start moving in onto this location and trying to take down the ox cart to be as annoying as possible. But Mr. Boat does manage to keep that one alive. The villager's going to move over here to help take this fight as well. So many Hersa in on this fight. Hersa are so good. So good for Odin. Guys, stop making raiding cavalry as Odin. Hersa, throw an axeman. That's the army comp. That's the army comp. Now, Mr. Boat, 50 Shades going to be retreating. He does get access to the actual shades, considering his name is 50 Shades. He wants to get all of them out. So we'll see if that's going to help out at all. Remember, these shades are very, very strong. You compare them to the Hoplite, 110 HP versus 115 HP. Very similar, 7.2 damage per second versus 8 damage per second. A little bit less on the hack armor, a little bit more on the pierce armor. Obviously, the pierce armor doesn't help at all, so it's just strictly worse than a Hoplite. In this situation, we're seeing a watchtower getting thrown up over here by Mr. Boat as he's desperately going to be attempting to hold on to this location. But I feel like this is going to be enough to make 50 Shades have to leave here. As the tower is up, the army going to have to run away. But that's threat resources that don't get too much value there. They got a couple of shots off of damage there. And we do have the watchtowers also got spent as well for Mr. Boat. So we'll see how it's all going to go. There is a gold mine over here, a nice gold mine, nice food over here as well. Obviously, Mr. Boat will have to be a little bit concerned about this wall getting taken down, which is very low HP as well. So we'll see if that becomes an issue any time in the future here. 67 population to 69 population, still very, very close, but the Greek army is very, very strong here. And there's the armory coming down by Mr. Boat. He is going for that semi-fast heroic here, as he has run out of food on this location. One thing you can do, send a pig over onto this gold mine. Once you hit 500 gold, just take all those villagers onto pigs, and you'll be completely fine there. To go to the next age, and then you just go back onto the gold like nothing ever happened. And an interesting tower placement coming through now for Mr. 50 Shades. He wants to get this in on this forest here to secure this gold mine. Sending one villager forward, one villager forward. He must have been playing a little bit of Age of Empires 4. Saying, hey, I know what's good. Towers. Towers are good. So we see the ox cart getting sniped down. More houses coming up for Mr. Boat. And then we'll see how this is going to go if this tower... And the tower will go up, but is he getting himself watchtowers? Not just yet. As we will be seeing the Frost or Skadi coming through very, very shortly. The question is, will he have the gold to throw down a hill fort, and will he throw it down in a way that assists him or hinders him? He does already have this watchtower up. Doesn't quite have the resources, but I guess it doesn't matter because he can just frost this army and take it down. But medium infantry coming through. So this is I do actually think that this is a bit of a mistake from 50 Shades. When you're going for this build with Poseidon, with Hades, you don't have any pushing power with the army. So yeah, you can try and get a gold staff, but it's much better to just go to the heroic age and then either fight in the heroic age with a pacifist or go straight to the mythic age after that. That's just my own personal opinion here. We do see these villagers are making their way up onto this gold mine. The Frost Giant is out. There's so many throwing axemen coming in. The army of 50 Shades is coming in here. I would love to see the Frost getting thrown down, but maybe he doesn't need to. He's 95 population for Mr. Boat to 50 Shades 76 population. These Toxotes would be doing a lot of damage if they weren't focusing down the Frost Giant here. And it's looking like we don't even need to see a Frost as Mr. Boat is looking like he is in a commanding position here. These Herser tank a lot of damage as well. You can see they've only got 15% pierce armor. With 156 HP, they survived for a very, very long time, allowing those medium throwing axemen to actually get good damage done onto the throwing axemen, onto the Toxotes there. So nice play here from Mr. Boat as he is continuing to impress here in this game, and it's looking like 50 Shades is just not really going to have a lot of options remaining here in this game. He's thrown down some more military academies. We've got the hill fort coming in. We've got some shades coming through to help bolster the follow-up push. The shades are incredibly good against the throwing axemen, though, as they don't take bonus damage. The shades are only taking that base 4.95 damage. But Mr. Boat's now circling around with his raiding cavalry, going to be able to jump onto these Toxotes here. 50 Shades is going to try and jump in onto the forest here to allow them to not get completely smashed, but that's all you can do here. Now we've got the Ajax getting sniped down as well. Throwing axemen can be taken down the Toxote, doing all of the good things. Villagers over here will take down the elephant as well. As the hoplite falls, we've got the hill fort coming up now for Mr. Boat. Finally, we got 50 Shades on the corner here on this gold mine, leaving his home gold mine here as well. Just going to continue spamming out these units. And these just a lot of villagers on wood right now for Mr. Boat. So the big thing about Odin in the heroic age is you can just go into full dwarf mode, making a whole bunch of throwing axemen, a whole bunch of Huskal, and a whole bunch of frost giants and dwarves as well. You don't really need that food so badly. Got another cheeky wooden wall coming up, just randomly, just chilling there in the middle. And we do have a very strong player in chat here asking, do throwing axemen counter Toxotes? The question is an interesting one that you pose, because technically the Toxotes counter throwing axemen. However, the difference in damage is fairly similar. Like, that's fairly close to five damage, except the throwing axemen don't miss on their initial throws, I don't think, and the Toxotes do miss on their initial throws. And then if you get Huntress Axe, this damage becomes much closer. So in actuality, it's actually quite close. Anyways, we see a tap out there. GG. Well played by Mr. Boat. Taking this win here fairly decisively against 50 Shades. I actually thought this was going to be a really close game, but I think Odin is very strong here. If you don't play in a specific way with Greek, you're going to be finding yourself in a bit of a difficult position. So there's two ways to play this one here with Hades. There's two town center turtle into late game and try and hold any sort of shenanigans that the Norse player does. And the other way to play it is a semi-fast mythic off of maybe like somewhere between 60 and 70 population to the mythic age. And it doesn't work as well with Hades because you don't have food in your base from Lure. That's what makes it really good with Poseidon, because Poseidon's able to get to the heroic age and then just chuck everything onto gold and start buying food to go to the next age. But we didn't see 50 Shades do that. He went kind of all in on trying to get a gold staff here in the classical age, and Mr. Boat made him pay here. So Mr. Boat wins this first game in this Meta Plays tournament. If you guys want to see the rest of this tournament, I do encourage you to go over to Meta Plays and check it out. They do a lot of good work, a lot of good commentary, a lot of good games over there, and they do host a lot of very nice tournaments here. And if you are enjoying my content, though, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.